going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL020 back at it again for a brand new review. This time around, I had to catch a metro or bus. I had to walk maybe half a mile to a random location in Bethesda, Maryland. Bethesda Row movie theater, which I've never even been to before. Probably the first movie theater I actually seen so alcohol, which is crazy. But beside the point, I had to go and see this director's final film. The name of the title is The Wind Rises. This is Hayao Miyazaki's final film, and I mean, if any of y'all have never heard of it, but Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, Castle in the Sky, Ponyo, which came out, I believe it was like 2008. Got so many different influences because Disney went hand in hand with the actual studio that Miyazaki was actually working with. And so there's a lot actually that was riding on how they were going to do it. But I mean, he's been making stuff since the 70s. I mean, if any of y'all heard of Lupin the Third or Sherlock the Hound, this is all Miyazaki. This man, I found out just from researching that he's not only a great director, but he's an amazing writer. He's all the major films he's written the scripts for. In addition to that, he's actually a song creator. He's done the soundtracks for a couple ones. His son, Goro Miyazaki, he's got a couple animated films. So many different things. He's an artist, one of the lead designers for the different character animations. I mean, he's just multi-talented, and I knew that I loved all his different. I mean, looking at all of the past, I've been inspired over the years just in how he's actually made different films. Of course, y'all see my review on Summer Wars, and I think I might do one on Wolf's Children, the director for that one. I mean, he seems like he has great influence as well, as being like the next big, you know, Miyazaki. But there's never going to be another. And I had to go see this movie. So just off the gate, I'm gonna let y'all know this is gonna run a little bit long because I'm not gonna be able to break it down in just 3 sections. Normally I do it just the scope of the movie, how it looks, the characters, and then the story. I can't do that this time because frankly, it's so many dimensions to the movie that I thoroughly enjoyed and that I wanted to take time to really break apart and go into the details of what I found about it. So off the gate, a lot of people have seen the trailers for it. It's up for an Academy Award, which I believe is going to win over Frozen. Even though I've heard great things about Frozen, I haven't seen it yet. I think that this should win just because from what I've seen. Looking at it, when I first went into the shop, first thing I saw was the main character, which I thought he was just kind of in the field, and I was thinking like, what in the world is this? Because the character, he was in the field and he was moving, and then he was close by these characters that were on planes, and I was like, this seems so extravagant and weird and different and stuff like that. And then he gets into the plane and you just start seeing it float, and you see the progression of how the wind moves off of the plane, and you see the imagery of everything around him. But it was really strange because I was like, looking at it, I thought it was a dream, which that shows that there was great detail put into the 2D animation of this. There's a lot of people that said that 2D animation is dead, but to me, there's a nostalgia aspect to 2D animation. I think it refines the way that we comprehend things. It's not just, to me, I think back in the day, they used 2D animation to do things that they couldn't do. Now that CG is here, everybody's saying, okay, CG can do everything that our imagination could even dream or imagine. But it wasn't just that. When you look at The Lion King, and you look at the opening shot of the animals, and the chant and the theme, and you look at all different things, and then like maybe when you see later on when Simba's actually going through, he's going back to Pride Rock, and you see the rain just hit, like there's an elegance about it, and there's like it's something that you would see in your dreams, you know, but at the same time it's a realistic-esque to it. This takes a whole different step further. If you love the animation style of The Lion King, or things that you can appreciate 2D animation, like this will blow your mind away, to be quite honest, because going back to what I was saying about the first scenes that I saw, I was looking at it and I saw like maybe a house, I saw like a bridge, and I was looking, I was like, nobody's paying attention to this man in this plane. I was like, it's a little kid in a plane. And I realized that he was dreaming. But it was crazy because it wasn't much detail there. It was like really like kind of hued out. It was kind of like autofocused to a way it was kind of blurred out. But it was just so well made. And then when it finally just stopped, you just see him wake back up, and you look at the world around him, and it's so detailed as opposed to how it is in the dream world. The dream world and the scope of how they do this movie, there's so many different things that could happen. There's so many different possibilities of what the character is going to immerse himself into. And I'll go into the character's name, and I'm going to make sure I get the names right. So you might see me pull out my baby. I know you like that background. And I also got some notes that I wrote on my phone pertaining to this very awesome and amazing movie. But just looking at the scope of how it looked, it was just amazing. When you see the wind, which that's a big principal part of this movie, it's just so well grazed through everything. The grass, the people, like the clothes. I didn't think about it, but even coming out of the movie, I was like, every single person interacted differently with the wind and how it hit their body and how it hit their clothes and how it hit their hair, and those are fine details, you know. Like, I don't think people really can appreciate that, but I do. Like, I'm inspired by that. And so one of the things that was the theme, and I'm gonna go into now real quick and give you the name of the main character. It's Jiro. Jiro is the main character. He is the aviator, in my opinion. He is based on actual factual character that he had designed and helped design the Japanese attack fighter planes for World War II. And but this character is just something totally different because Jiro, when I first meet this character, I find out, like, I was like, okay, he's 4 eyes, like he can't see worth a daggone. And he goes to school, and it's gonna be some small spoilers in this. I'm just gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna tell y'all everything, but I have to describe the character because he goes into school and he sees somebody getting beat up, and person's getting beat up and whatnot. He gets in between them. I was like, oh, they about to beat him up. Nope. This dude, he just slung the man on the ground. He shows that he's not just doing stuff just to do it. He's not a bully. He's not somebody that's so into himself. He's focused. He's dedicated. This character is a good man. He's a good boy, and he goes and progresses into a good man. I think the amazing thing to see is that when you see him young, he, in a sense, he's the same exact person, and with the same exact dreams, and with the same exact dedication and focus all the way to the very end of the very movie. The difference is that when I've seen different other Miyazaki films, like there's a lot of different characters, and you'll see like some romances there, and like they pay really close detail to the focus of the character. But when there's an interaction with a love interest, it's always kind of like a kid kind of way, you know. But you see from the get-go, there's an interaction that happens when there's a major earthquake, and the earthquake is just nuts. Like when it happens, like it was kind of overdrawn, like it was kind of unbelievable. But I saw how it fit, and everything shook and everything changed. And when it happened, like it showed also like the different elements. Like it showed different like things like fire. It showed like when there was a storm going on, you saw like the ripples of the flashes of lightning in the clouds. And I was like, how in the world did they do this in a 2D animation? It kept me immersed into it. And so to say that there were times I was looking at it and I got so just normally looking at the characters, I was like, man, this feels real, you know? Like 2D is not supposed to feel real. It's only supposed to make you consciously think that there's things that's going on that's realistic. But because of how well done the story was, and how believable the story was, and how well the animation went in transition to it, I was like, man, this looks like a normal movie. Like if I looked and I had a live action shot of this, I don't think that there'll be any difference. Like because the animation was just so well found done. So you got other characters, Nayoko, the characters, his main squeeze, his boo, his epic love, as it were. She is an amazing character as well. Same kind of devotion, same kind of heart as him, but it's like Jiro has his own dreams, you know. And at first, I think what is so awesome about the story is that his character initially wasn't focused on trying to find love or trying to bring people together. He loved to protect people, but it wasn't to try to like find like the American dream, the grand pursuit of happiness, you know. It was more so along the lines of trying to achieve this amazing dream that he saw, because once he caught wind of what the possibilities of flight was, he was like immersed in it, and he was obsessed with it, but he was passionate and he was devoted, and he became a mathematician. He became all these different kind of things just to achieve this goal. But it's a lot of different other things. I mean, Hanjo was one of his friends. It was pretty interesting, the dynamics of the character. I'm trying to think who else. There's a lot of different characters in it. I'm not going to be able to name off all of them. Going through. What is it? Hattori. Samato. That's the one. Caproni. Caproni is his dream character. When he's in the dreams, he sees Caproni. Caproni was based on a person that I guess was the initial aviator of creation of planes, and this is what Jiro wanted to be. Like everything he was, but there are different life lessons that Caproni would go and tell him while he was in the dream, and he would say like, I always go and I take time in my dream to be able to develop the new ideas and how the scope of how the planes are supposed to be designed. And it's so interesting because there was a couple of things that Caproni keep asking him. He was asking one time, the wind is rising, we must try to live, or is the wind still rising? And he would always ask him that to figure out where Jiro is at, where his focus is, where his mind's at, and it would all keep him back on track. No matter what was the situation, no matter how messed up it was going on, or no matter how many failures or good things that were happening, he would always go back to his dreams and just be able to comprehend what to do. And it's interesting to have a character like that. It's so dedicated, so focused, but yet can have such a broad imagination, because you see genius like on like the films and the people that you can see like are just book smart, but it's a different thing to have somebody that has an imagination, and on top of that to be able to go and just do what they have to do. It's just an amazing thing, and this character is just something like I've never seen before, and put on film like that, I want to see the character again, you know. But yeah, what else happened? But I mean, when I was looking at it, and there was a brush fire at one point, and something had happened, and Jiro had an option of actually going and just sticking and doing what he has to do, or he could go and help. And for whatever reason, early on, just looking at how the character was when he was a young kid to when like he's a little bit more of an adult, I knew in my heart that he was going to do something about it. Like that's just how his character shows, and to have that, to be able to be seen on a person's look, like okay, I know he's about to go and do something about this. He does it, and his bravery comes out, and his poise comes out, and it's crazy because he meets up with his one true love, Naruko, early on, and he helps her, but then like he doesn't say anything after that. Like he doesn't even give her a name, because he's so focused on trying to get the plane made and trying to go with the new pattern. And I'm gonna be very honest with y'all, they do not spare any expense of how engineers aviation designs or scope of design looks, or even sounds, or even what goes into practice as far as the mathematics behind it. Like they go into strict detail with it. I see him just sitting there writing out the phone. I'm sitting there trying to comprehend and understand. I'm like, man, I could go back and look at this movie all over again and understand what he's doing if I went and I studied it. And that is something that a lot of animations don't do anymore. There's a lot of different animes that come out, and like some of them are one-hit wonders, and then some of them are amazing. But I mean, back in the day, I mean, there was so many different great animes, and now it's like bombarded with fan service and too many different like spiritual, demonic, elemental things that kind of take and deviate away from the core storyline versus like the action and the gore and the blood. And there's the action in this, and there's sadness in this and stuff like that. But like, this is a core story. This is a real story, you know. And I appreciate that as an artist. They got different people as well, different voice actors. They got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays Jiro. We got Emily Blunt that plays Naruko. His one-time love, Martin Short plays Kuoka, and he's a funny character, man. He's like basically Jiro's boss, but he plays it really well. Who is Stanley Tucci plays Caproni. And he does a really good job with his voice. One thing I will say that I don't know if I like or not, but I understand why, because I was like, at a certain point, like, you have a character speaking Italian, and he speak it, like, but then I'm like, there's no subtitles at all, and I'm not sure if it's because of my theater or what, but it might have somebody that's French that might speak in French, it might be the main character that tries to dialogue and something else, and I'm like, I'm not understanding what's going on, but then he would always go back and say something and then reference what it means, which I can appreciate more, because I didn't read anything in this. There was no subtitles in this movie, even though there were times where people were speaking different languages. There was times where there was German scenes that it went, and it was a lot of German accents that I was actually speaking. I couldn't understand what was going on, but then I could comprehend it, you know. And that's just good scripting. That's good writing, because if he had done it any other way, especially with the English dub, because again, this is the US version. Like, if it was the Japanese animation version, I'm not sure how it would look. When I buy it, I'll go back through and do another review so I can see what the subtle differences behind it. But I really appreciated how they did that, because I was like, what in the world? Why are you speaking this different kind of language, you know? I know I'm being long-winded, but this movie, it deserves it, to be quite honest with you. I wanted y'all to see up and close, like, how this kind of made me feel. And me, myself, becoming like a young director, I used to be heavy in like graphic arts, drawing. I love to write. I love to come up with different scripts. I love music. So it's like everything that Hayao Miyazaki put into his craft all the time is everything I can really appreciate. And I think I'm going to go back and actually go and start buying all the different ones that he's done in the past, especially after looking at this. But the soundtrack, y'all, there are times where you hear like an Italian orchestra going on. You hear like a German song just in the middle. There's a time when in the middle of the movie, the main character, he is a lot grown up, and he's at a bar, or I can't remember what the venue was, but there was a German character, and he just started to play the piano. He just started to sing the German song. Main character joins in. Naruko's dad joins in. It's just a beautiful, well-done paced thing. It wasn't like a musical moment, you know. It wasn't like a Disney musical moment. It was just really authentic and really real. And every single sound or rhythm that was going on, like, it was very touching. It was really elemental. It was very grounded. I really loved it. There are times, I'll be very quite honest with y'all, that I really did tear up. The reason being is that the core of this movie is two different things. Is Jiro's devotion to the craft and authentication of aviation and the building and designing of planes. He's in love with planes. He's captivated by what the capabilities are. And I mean, because his eyesight's so messed up, he can't fly himself, but he can actually design, and he loves to design. He loves to do different things. And there are times where with his character, he's just so focused that everything around him just goes to the side. The only thing that doesn't go to the side, and up until the very end, like, you see where his real choice would have really been had he had not necessarily like averted his dream. He still was going to do that, but looking somewhere else. And the other half of the central core of it is the love story between Jiro and Naruko. Like, it's so well done, y'all. Like, I was like rooting for them before like anything was happening. He was older than her. I was like, what in the world is this mess? And then it all came full circle. It was like it was meant to be, you know. Just like his destiny, he was meant to have his destiny, but he's also meant to have this woman in his life, and it's just so beautiful. There's a point where, as a wedding scene, it's just so beautiful looking at Nakuro. It was a time where somebody had gotten very sick, and Jiro's character, he's so upset, he's so distraught, he was working on his work, and he's running out, and there are tears pouring out of his eyes as he's trying to frantically get everything he has to do, get out, get on the plane, and do what he has to do and get to that person. But it was heart-wrenching for me because of how well they did the scene. Like, I mean, I've seen different animes where people just, oh, they just cried, and you know, but this character, he's centrally focused. He's not an emotional being, but he's a protector. And for him to weep, or for him to like emote at all, that was just good scripting. It was good craft in how they designed the character and how he interacts with this woman and how she loves him. Like, no matter what's going on with her, no matter how bad it is, like, she's devoted to him. Like, she caters to him. Like, she's his strength, not his weakness, even if she's weak herself, you know. And I can't spoil it. I won't. But it's just a beautiful story. And it's a beautiful end to it as well. I think there's been a lot of people talking that this movie promotes that the factual character that in real life like designed these planes as the kamikazes or the destructo planes that attacked like Pearl Harbor and everything that's going on with World War II, that this kind of like, okay, this makes his character seem all bubbly and good and whatnot. This is a totally different character. The heart of the character in and of itself, really, even when you go through and hear him talking about the designs, like, this gun doesn't need to be here. Like, these guns don't need to be on this plane. He's so focused on trying to get the craft perfected that he's misguided in the sense of what the ultimate craft is going to be, you know, and what it's going to be used against. And I mean, I bet you a lot of different inventors, when they develop things, they didn't go with the intent of having it being weaponized or used in that kind of way. And this, as an inventor and as a designer, like, his passion and his devotion was straight to just making a plane and having it like that. And to be honest, like, there's a lot of foreshadowing in every single dream that he had, because you see him battling these different things and elements, and there's always at some point at the end of the dream like a darkness that kind of comes up, and you know what it is because you know the history behind it. But as like a viewer, like it's just crazy to actually see, because by the end of the movie, like, the character is at this precipice and he's like, I've perfected it, but then to what end, you know? And it's interesting because Caproni, his subconscious character that he's kind of thought up in his dreams, like, it really just subtly is there for him, kind of like a father figure. And it was just weird because now I think about it, like, I don't remember like him interacting that much with his father, or him showing, but there's a lot of great characters in it. And I mean, I won't be able to go through everything. I can just tell you that the visuals are amazing. The story, the scripting were amazing. This is a very serious movie. The pacing is very slow because it has to go off the story development of the characters and the intricate parts between the layers of this relationship and this man and this woman, and this relationship with this man and this dream. And the essence of a dream, it can be used for great things and it can be used for deadly things. But at the end of the day, like, even though like what happened, we all know what's going to happen. Like, when he perfects the craft of designing this perfect plane or planes, that there's an end result that's very catastrophic in millions of lives. But like, his designs, even later on, it's like when he was kind of making them, he was like, man, this looks like a jet plane. This looks like an airliner. And he was thinking these processes in his head and how they would look and how they would work. And I mean, it's just very inspiring more than anything. And I don't think that the director was going off to try to like make amends or just condone that. If anything, it was like, man, why is this even happening? Why was there a military to even like put? It was like there was a underlayer sneakiness to everything that was going on with his bosses. Like you didn't know like who was really what, you know. But I really enjoyed this movie, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the review. This is a review for the US version, not the Japanese version. I'm going to be having a couple other things that I'm going to be talking about very soon, and videos. One of the ones I want to talk about is 2D animation. Should it be kept? Should Disney keep 2D animation? Should there be a new pioneer from the Japanese location that keeps this going? And I'm going to give you my own personalistic thoughts on 2D animation and how it's influenced me, and even now thoughts of like maybe doing like some animation, getting an animator, working on some scripts myself personally. So anyway, I digress. I don't have a specific number for this. If I did, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Just leave it at that. Only reason why is because, like I said, I think it would have benefited from some subtitles, but that was just nitpicky stuff. It was an amazing movie. Leave your comments at the link below. If you have any video reviews that like once you see it, please share them down at the bottom. Everybody, go check out Hayao Miyazaki's brand new film, The Wind Rises. This is SCU020 signing out. Later.